Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, going into this episode, it was 3 acts, and I felt like 2 of them were important, and one of them wasn't really that important. I mean, it was important, but again, it's one of those things I like to call fluff or padding. Let's kind of get the padding out the way a little bit. Let's talk about Eli and Kayla. No, Eli and Lonnie. Wow. So they had dinner or lunch or whatever with Abe and Julia, and they're telling them about the good news. They're getting married and everything like that. Who's gonna be performing, who's gonna be marrying them. And of course, Abe and Julia start to fight over who's gonna be doing who. And I don't really know why they didn't sit there and say Abe. But pretty much, Julia doesn't have a good track record. Also, I think the last time that Julia was gonna marry Eli, it was gonna be with Gabby. So he was like, nope, that's not gonna happen. So she was like, I understand. And I don't really know why they actually said no to Abe. But I don't know. Anyway, they didn't really sit there. I think they said they were gonna go with Marlene. They were gonna go with Marlene to sit there and try to marry them. Also, by the way, as you know, this review is coming out late because once again there was a delay, and I'm not missing 20 minutes of an episode and trying to piece together the little bit of information that I know. So, went on YouTube and I was able to watch it. So yeah, after they figured out, who's gonna marry them, I think Julia was like, let's get a round of champagne, and let's get 4 glasses. Lonnie was like, get 3 glasses because we're gonna, she's pregnant. Now maybe this is just me, and I'm glad she said that I'm pregnant. It's always weird to me whenever they sit there and say we're pregnant. It's one thing you sit there and say we're having a baby, because that makes sense. We're both having a baby. I mean, technically she's having a baby, but whenever they say that we're pregnant, that just seems weird to me. I don't know, that's just me. Anyway, she told them both that they were, they were expecting. And, Kayla, Lonnie, Lonnie kind of expressed her concerns or whatever. I think actually, she knocked over a glass. She was expressing her concerns to Julia about how she was excited, but she was also afraid because of what happened the last time. And he basically said that it's not going to be the same because it's only a 2% chance of whatever caused her to lose her baby before. It's a 2% chance of that happening again. So, yeah, pretty much she said that Lonnie said that she was, she apologized for kind of being a Debbie Downer pretty much. And, Julia was like, that's nonsense, don't worry about it. You're afraid, I understand. And I think they paid the tab. Well, Eli was like, pretty much, I'm paying the tab, and that's just how it is. So after they left, after Abe, I didn't know Abe was short for Abraham. I don't know. It's just weird. I didn't know that. But after Abe and Julia left, you had Kayla. You had Lonnie. You had Lonnie and Eli just standing there, hugging each other, and Kaylee. Lonnie, fuck me sideways. Lonnie was like, I'm a little afraid because maybe I want this baby so much that that's the reason why I'm afraid, that I was so fearful before. And then they hugged each other, practically said everything was going to be fine, and that was pretty much that happened with them. That's why I said padding. Let's talk about Steve day drinking. Steve was at the bar pretty much getting hammered in the middle of the afternoon, so it was bad. Jack walks in there, and Jack is pretty much like, oh, pretty much this must be bad. So he tries to talk to Steve, and pretty much everything that Jack said was the same thing that Hope said. Except for now, Jack is like, you still need to sit there and fight for her. You need to sit there and tell her how you feel because, Steve is like, oh, well, she's getting engaged and she said yes. And Jack was like, yeah, but she only said yes because she didn't have all the information. The exact same thing that Hope said. The difference was Jack was like, listen, I'm not a prize, but she loves me. And I don't question it because that's how love is. And he was pretty much like, you love her, she loves you. You don't question it. It is what it is. Fight for her. Instead of just being a coward. And I think he said something along the lines of putting a note in her pocket like Jane Austen or something like that. Anyway, he tried and tried and tried, just comfort him and try to get him to sober up and, because pretty much he was like, yo, listen, Kayla does not need to see you like this. You need to sober up or come over to the house and be with the kids and that will force you to sober up. I didn't know they were brothers, so that's interesting. So yeah, that happened, and pretty much Jack just couldn't get through. So Jack was like, all right, well, don't get too drunk. Steve was like, nope, that's too late. I mean, they did the whole back and forth talk because Steve was pretty much just like, listen, she's happy, I don't want to ruin that, I'm doing what's best for her, I'm letting her go because I love her, the whole chivalry thing. Jack is like, alright, well, not that I tried, but this food is getting cold. I came here for food for the kids. The food is getting cold. And, yeah, I gotta go. On the other side of town, you got Kayla and Jennifer talking. Now, this is the thing that I guess kind of annoyed me a little bit about, Kayla. Is that Jennifer sees Kayla and, they're talking and stuff like that. Just, chit chat or whatever. And she sees the ring. And she's like, oh my goodness, it's so big or whatever. It's so nice. Did he propose to you? And, like the Steve proposed to you or something like that. And I think Kayla was like, no, Justin did. Why would Steve propose? I don't know. Yeah. Just a little sidebar. Maybe it's just me. And maybe it's just I'm not used to the acting. But I gotta be honest. Whoever this woman named Kayla is that's doing the acting, she just seems really, really stiff. Like she has very little emotions. Sometimes she doesn't seem like she has a lot of emotions. And even when she delivers her lines, it's just like it's so flat. It's so flat. She could be upset about something and just have the same expression on her face. She could be pissed and throw something and still just have that, I'm so mad. And you're just like, yeah, I didn't buy anything what you just said. I just need to get that off my chest. But pretty much, she's like, oh, well, who do you think that got me the ring? Steve or whatever? So they talk back and forth. And, about the marriage and stuff like that, and Justin proposing, and, Jennifer's like, yo, you still love Steve. Steve still loves you. And, Kayla is all like, well, he chose to give up on our marriage or whatever. Like, he wanted me to move on, and that's what I'm doing. I'm moving on. And I'm not marrying Justin because, Steve told me to move on. I'm marrying him because I love him. And when she said that, I was like, ugh. And granted, Jennifer didn't call her out on it, but I am. She said that she loved him. Now, just remember, those was her words. I'm saying that verbatim. She says she loves him. She never said that she was in love with him. And if you and again, just to repeat myself, if you ever loved someone, like if you've ever been in love with someone, there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone. And she says a lot. I noticed that she says a lot that she loves Justin. She loves Justin. I love my safe SUV. That's pretty much what it sounds like. And to be honest, the reason why I'm not really feeling the character is because I feel like she's kind of screwing over two men at the same time. Because, okay, Steve doesn't love you, whatever. Steve told you to move on. Okay, fine, whatever. But you're breaking Steve's heart, and that sucks. But you're also stringing along a guy that is in love with you and is fully committed to you, and you're only marrying him because you can't be with Steve. So you're using him as a consolation prize. 1 second. And you're only being with him for a consolation prize. You know, you don't really love him. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. And honestly, tell you the truth, in the beginning, and this is how you can tell that she didn't even really want to marry him. You know, when Jennifer was talking about the wedding and everything like that, and, you know, did he propose to you? Did you do this? Did you do that? Kayla's like, oh, well, can you just drop it? This is supposed to be among the happiest days of your life. And the first thing that you sit there and say is, can you just drop it? Wow, really? I don't know. I just... How can you sit there and say that you love this man? I felt like if she actually had any consideration for him, then she would do the right thing. And that's actually what Jennifer said. Jennifer was like, listen, I'm sort of doing, you know, I did, you know, I've been in your position, you know, when she said that she was going to marry somebody else, and, you know, I think she said that she didn't go through it because she didn't love him, and it wasn't fair to him, you know, because she was still in love with someone else. And that's exactly what Kayla's doing to Justin. Now, listen, I'm not Justin's biggest fan. I don't hate the guy, but I don't think that he's Steve. I think that he's safe, and he's probably better with somebody else. And I think he deserves better than to be with somebody who doesn't really love him. Anyway. So so Jennifer leaves. Jennifer goes back and you know, it's weird because Jennifer's at the house and Jack gets to the house, and Jennifer's like, guess what happened? And Jack is like, oh, Kayla's getting married. And Jennifer's like, well, how did you know? I'm like, really? How did you? He's not a psychic. I'm pretty sure whatever. Anyway, Jack is like, well, because Steve is at the bar celebrating in the afternoon. I don't know. Me personally, I know the phrase, you know, it's 12 a.m. somewhere, but come on, really? Unless it's a holiday or somebody's birthday, you drinking in the daytime is, it's just weird for me, okay? It just seems like you're not drinking because you want to drink, you're drinking because you have to, or whatever. Anyway, Kayla is at the hospital, and she talks to Justin, saying she's gonna pick up some food or whatever from the bar or from someplace, and, you know, she'll pick it up and we'll talk or whatever. And 1 second. Anyway, so Kayla's like, you know, listen, I'm gonna pick up some food or whatever, and you know, I'll meet you back at your place or whatever, and we'll have dinner or some shit. And so Kayla goes to the bar. Now, Steve is just looking sad. Like my heart is breaking for her. Not as much as you know what, but my heart is breaking for him. I was gonna sit there and say not as much as that character on General Hospital that I just suddenly forgot his name, Chase. I personally felt more bad for him. But you know, I felt bad for Steve because Steve was just sitting there. First of all, he's like singing, and I'm like, that is not a good sign. And then he's over there playing darts or whatever, and he's like, you know, he's missing, and he's like, seemed like I lost my touch, and so now he's stumbling, and I'm like, oh man, please don't be that guy. It's like, please don't be that guy. Please don't be that drunk person at the bar that just makes noise and makes it uncomfortable for everyone else around. Please don't be that guy. So anyway, he stumbles back onto the bar stool, and Kayla comes in, and it's like Steve just had that sixth sense because he turned around and he saw Kayla. Now Kayla has that overly dramatic look on her face, and I can't tell, is it just disappointment? Is it anger? This woman needs to get some sort of like facial expressions, like acting wise, better, because it just seems like she just has one look on her face, this dead-eyed look. Anyway, she's standing there looking at Steve, and Steve is looking at her, drunk, a wreck, red-eyed because he's been crying. And I'm like, damn. Because Jack was like, man, you don't want Kayla to see you like this. And I can already tell tomorrow's gonna be interesting. And it's just not gonna go Steve's way. And that's gonna suck. Let's quickly talk about Rafe, Hope, Zoe, and Orpheus. So Zoe goes to see Orpheus in prison, and Zoe's like, oh, they go back and forth, and then pretty much Zoe's like, you know what, listen, you suck as a criminal, because you screwed up, and you messed over, I guess, her brother, and she's like, you know what. Also, she was like, because you're such a terrible criminal and you messed things up for not only my brother, but for me, because now Rafe is going to have all this evidence mounted up against me, and I'm probably going to lose the custody hearing because of you. And Orpheus was like, no, the reason why you're going to lose is because you're a bad lawyer. Like, damn. Because I think, later on when, okay. So anyway, he's like, you're a bad lawyer. And, they go back and forth, and Orpheus is pretty much, Zoe's like, well, how did some washed up, one-eyed, old man sit there and manage to catch you? You must be going soft or whatever. So they go back and forth or whatever, and towards the end, Orpheus is like, listen, just don't lose this case, okay? I don't want my grandson to be, with him. And Zoe's like, oh, well, I don't want that either. Now, I'm going to just pause it a second. For anyone who's actually watching General Hospital, and granted, this goes sort of back with Rafe and Zoe, Zoe's like, listen, I want to testify, I want to help you testify, whatever, and help you any way I can. And Rafe is like, listen, let's talk about the gun thing. Now she's going to try to spin it and make it seem like the reason why I got shot was because of you grabbing the gun. And she's going to try to throw a lot of mud at you. And, Hope recommends a suit and a tie for him and everything like that. And it seems like there's some sort of tension. Pretty much Hope wants Rafe back or whatever. And Rafe is like, I don't want Zoe to have custody. And Hope is like, oh, well, the whole family is just messed up and terrible. Now, I go back and I sit there and think, Zoe doesn't seem that bad. Like, Zoe compared to Nell, Like, when people were saying they don't want Nell to actually have custody of, I can't even remember his name, because it's been so long, Wiley. I was like, no, Nell is a terrible person, but Zoe doesn't seem that bad. I mean, I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong. Let me know the type of crap that she's done, because Rafe is like, I don't want her to have custody of a little David, and I'm the only person that he's known. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but like, she's not the worst person in the world. Like, okay, her dad is terrible, but she doesn't seem that bad. Like, anyway, Hope, they get ready, they walk out. Apparently this is a really small town. Rafe and Hope cross paths with Zoe, and they snipe at each other back and forth, and Hope and David's like, oh, well, I'm gonna sit there and tell the court that you tried to shoot me. And Zoe's like, well, I didn't really, Zoe was like, well, I didn't really shoot you, and pretty much she grabbed the gun and it went, just went off. And then she was like, well, are you also going to sit there and tell the court that Hope let me go? Because clearly I wasn't that dangerous if she let me go, And Rafe's whole thing when he was sent to talking to Hope was that she was going to sit there and try to say that she was under duress. That the only reason why she pulled out the gun and did what she did was because people was holding her son captive. So she's going to sit there and try to play that angle. And that's pretty much the end of Days. I was going to say General Hospital. That's the end of Days. So yeah, it was a good episode. With Kayla's bad acting aside, she just seems like she's confused, she wants to be with Steve, but Steve doesn't want to be with her, and she's just too proud to sit there and be like, to try to go back to him. And to be fair, I guess he kicked her to the curb enough times where she's like, alright, F it, I'm gonna, be with this guy. But, again, you're being with somebody who you don't even really want to be with, and you're not even really seeming that you're that excited about it, And I guess the only reason why Jennifer didn't call you out on it is because you already seemed like you were upset with the questions that she was asking you. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it. I'm gonna rant for like 30 seconds. But when I sit there and watch Brock TV, and sometimes his reviews used to be like 19, 20 minutes, sometimes 28 minutes. I'm like, dude. Sometimes I would enjoy his videos, but sometimes I wouldn't watch it because I'm like, why is this video so long? What did he actually have to say in General Hospital? I don't remember it being that much. But then I started doing it, I was like, oh. Well. And not that it was a bad thing, because honestly, to tell you the truth, he does have some really interesting takes. Particularly about the Michael incident. About how all these women are apparently running his life that I never thought of. But yeah, I was just always sitting there wondering, and I'm looking at the time, like, it's 22 minutes. I'm like, how the did he get to 22 minutes? And it was only 3 acts. But, yeah. So that's how. So, thank you for watching. Be safe. All that good stuff. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Oh, and also thank you for, the comments at the bottom, especially correcting me. Because, again, I'm still new at Days of Our Lives. And I'm still kind of learning the history. So, I really do appreciate all the input that people are giving me. And, just tips and stuff like that. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. And, be safe, all that good stuff. And again, if you have any comments below. Also, I'm going to put up a little questionnaire tomorrow. Revolving Xander and Hope. And I want your opinions on this. Because I know that I'm pretty, have the answer for that, but I want to know what you think. I know what the fans think about this whole question I'm gonna ask tomorrow. So I'll write it in the description at the bottom. And yeah, be safe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next recap or review. I'm still deciding on which one it is.